Welcome, bent riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laid Back Bike Report. Well, it is awesome to have you guys with us today. Let me tell you what's on today's show. We're going to kick it off with Honza Galla. We're so glad to have him back. He's going to give us a short news report on the recumbent scene around the world. Then we're going to head out to Battle Mountain, Nevada. So our good pal Cobus Burger, who actually brought his Velomobile out there to race, took some extra time to do some interviews and coverage for the Laid Back Bike Report out there at the World Speed Challenge. And so we're excited to share that with you. And then we're going to head to the Netherlands to talk to Ben Parke of Northland Velo fame. And Ben used to live in Minnesota, has moved to Europe. And he's going to tell us about what it's like to try to have a Velomobile dealership in the North American continent. This is not an easy task. He's not the first one to try it. So we're going to delve into that with Ben. He's been very transparent about it all. So we're excited to share that with you as well. In the meantime, let me share my crew members with you right now, tell you who they are. Out in Colorado Springs, Colorado, my director for the day, it's Larry Seidman. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Gary.
Larry was just in Utah at the Huntsman Games. Did not find the time to shave, of course, because he was too busy racing, and he had some success. Maybe a little bit later, Larry, we'll give you a second to talk about that. Also, we have my media guy, Trey Burgoyne, in Raymond, Mississippi. Trey, glad to have you with us today.
Howdy, folks. Good to be here.
And I already told you that Honza's with us today from the Czech Republic. Honza, thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Hello, everybody.
All right, guys. Now, if you want to participate in the show today, you can do so with live chat. You can find that on Facebook or YouTube. So make your comments on there, ask questions of us, and let us know where you are watching from. We always like to see where that is. And if I have a chance, I'll pop you up on the screen here so people can see where you are watching from. Now, if you want to support the Laid Back Bike Report, you can do so by liking us on Facebook, subscribing to us on YouTube, and you can head over to the Laid Back Bike Report website by clicking on a QR code that we're going to pop up over there if you want to take a little picture of that. On the Laid Back Bike Report website, you can do a lot of things, find our past shows, future shows. Will be listed there. You can buy a hat. You can become a Patreon member like these folks right there. So you can do that for as little as $1 a month. So we appreciate that support no matter how you supply it to us. So thanks for doing that. Now, how about the sponsors of the Laid Back Bike Report? Let me tell you who they are. TerraCycle. Why sit up when you can lay back? TerraCycle engineers the recumbent essentials to take your ride to the next level. Find us at t-cycle.com. And Trailside Trikes, a fine recumbent trike shop on the Withlacoochee Trail in Florida. And TerraTrike Green Speed. Your vision, whatever it is, TerraTrike has a trike to take you there. And Green Speed cutting-edge designs create performance through Aussie ingenuity. And Laid Back Cycles, your go-to store for Cat Trike, Ice TerraTrike, and now Azub recumbent trikes. They ship nationwide and offer financing to get you rolling. Plus, check out Laid Back Mickey on YouTube for all the latest tips and reviews on recumbent trikes. And Bicycle Man, where you can find new and used recumbent trikes and bikes. We're located in Alfred Station, New York, and have over 100 bents in stock and ready to try. So why wait? Come ride, then decide. And Azub. The team at Azub is proud to offer the latest 5th generation Bosch Performance CX motor. The CX offers 250 watts of nominal power and up to 600 watts of maximum power, and 85 Newton meters of torque. The optional dual battery system has an impressive range of up to 200 miles. This system can also link the electronic shifting of the roll-off gearbox, something that no other motor but Bosch allows. To learn more about all this, visit azub.eu and feel free to configure your dream trike. And Connecticut Yankee Peddler. We feature multiple brands of trikes, including electric assist models. Test rides in Southern Iowa hospitality are always available at our mega store in Chariton. And Stein Trikes, where comfort meets performance. Engineered for adventure and built for the journey. Check out stein-trikes-us.com to learn more. And Honza Bikes. We have recumbents, cargo bikes, hand cycles, tandems, and trikes for all ages and abilities, including the new Cat Wiesel 1. All right. Let's jump right into it, folks, with the recumbent news. Let's bring Honza up if we can, Larry, because he's going to do it. I'm not. Honza, let's go ahead and let you take that away. You're up.
Hello, everybody. Honza Galla from Recumbent News here again. After quite some, or after over a month, let's say, Gary was not really right about the fact that I will have recumbent news from around the world. It will be purely US today, purely Florida based today, because all three news are from Catrike. So the first one is that they launched a new web page just a couple of weeks ago. So it's redesigned, it's fine-tuned, it's more organized, let's say. And the major improvement, I would say, would be that they added a store, an internet shop where you can buy spare parts and accessories. It has even a special domain, catrikestore.com. So if you are into catrikes, just go and see the new webpage. The second news is that they have kind of announced, or they just celebrate 25 years of their manufacturing in Florida, in Orlando, Florida. So this is the a 25th anniversary. There are quite some of the companies celebrating different anniversaries this year. Also, as we did celebrate it. Gary had 10 years of laid back bike report. At the beginning of the year, I celebrated 5 years of recumbent news. So this is another one to celebrate. And the last one is that in the newsletter they have sent just a couple of days ago, there appeared kind of secret picture, or picture covered with a confidential sign, and it says the engineering and design teams have been hard at work inside our Orlando factory on something. Then I published it on Facebook page of Recumbent News, and there started some discussion about what it could possibly be, and some suggestions from Dana Lieberman from Bend Up Cycles, or Koramu is from Hamilton Trikes, is that it could be a fully suspended Catrike Max, or it could be a Villager as well, because the Max doesn't have the logo on the padded seat. So we will probably see some news coming from Catrike in the next days or weeks or months. We will see. So those are the free news from the world of recumbent news. Of recumbents, this time from Florida only. And I wish you a great rest of the Laid Back Bike report. And yeah, see you next time.
All right. Thank you so much, Honza. And Honza and I were talking earlier today, that 25th anniversary for AZUB, that amazing event that you held. Speaking of Dana Lieberman, he actually showed up there, I know, and some of my other friends as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I wish I could have been there with you. But we're going to have you back on, maybe with Alex as well, to talk about the event itself next month or the month after. We'll work on that. If that's okay, Honza, that'd be great.
Yes. Okay.
All right. That sounds good. All right, Honza, thanks so much for joining us again today with the news. And we're going to move on then to our first regular segment here. As I mentioned earlier, Cobus Burger, a good friend from Denver, Colorado. He took his Velomobile out to Battle Mountain this year to actually try and race it. This is his first opportunity to do that. And he did race it with some success, but he also took some time later in the week to cover the event for us with some video and some interviews. And so we put all that together for a little report that I think you're going to really like. So, Larry, let's have a look at the 2025 edition of Battle Mountain's World Human Powered Speed Challenge.
Hello, Gary. I'm here at the timing station. This is Saturday morning. We just finished Heat 2. There you can see the timing station behind me with June. And over here we have Marika Luchtvoet. Hello, Marika.
Also known as Timing Mary.
Timing Mary, yes. Marika, could you introduce yourself quick and tell us what it is that you do here and what you've done for this Battle Mountain?
I mostly run the radio at timing, so I try to communicate. Sometimes I have to relay messages from start or from catch all the way to start. Try to keep things running smoothly. And yeah, running up to this event, I was project managing the organization, so having bi-weekly calls with the entire team. So that was very special for us that we got to see each other throughout the year.
Right, and you've done an excellent job. You and your husband working together to do that, right? Yeah.
Yes, but we're a total team of 8 that were involved in getting it all started up.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Still at the timing station, we have June here. June, can you introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do here at Battle Mountain?
So I've been the head timer. This is my 14th time doing that job. I have the privilege of announcing world records when they're broken, and then I also help seed all the riders so that when we have that meeting, we figure out who is going to run next and in what order. We're out here first thing in the morning, right around the time that the sun comes up. We want to be sure to be ready between 7:50, between around 7:15 or 7:30 when the first runs happen.
And then after the runs, we have to pack everything up and redo it in the afternoon as well.
That's right. We have to. Well, that's everything that we have to do along the course is to pack up all our time.
Right.
We can't leave it out here.
Okay. All right. Thanks, June.
Okay.
And here we have the other member of the timing team. Can you introduce yourself?
My name's Danny Guthrie. I mainly do the wind, help set up timing, a lot of manual labor.
That's right.
Schlepping.
How long have you been doing Battle Mountain?
Since 2013.
Oh, that's a while.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
I love it. Yeah, I like to sit out here alongside the highway.
I watch weird bikes go fast.
Yeah. Sometimes bikes, sometimes animals, sometimes great skies.
Right. Great. Thank you, Danny.
Good.
The French team is graciously allowing some of the riders to jump in and try the bike.
Yeah, now
So-
you have to twist.
Yeah, you have to twist.
Niklas is tried it. Dipka is trying it now. Surprisingly, they're gonna let me try too. Niklas, you like it?
It's too big.
Too big for you.
Nee, Wein kennst du, ja? Ja, ist okay. Okay. Will be cool.
Matthias?
It's okay for you?
Matthias? I don't... Does she want it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hello, I am here with Francois from the French team at Battle Mountain. Francois, can you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a bit about your background?
Yes, my name is François Pervy. I am old track cyclist. I've been in the national team during 20 years, and I was a sprinter before. I have 40 years old. 40 years old, yes.
40 years old.
And it's the third time for me to Battle Mountain.
Oh, 3 times.
Yes.
Okay, and what were your goals when you came here this time? Because in 2023, when I was here the first time, you were here too.
2022, my first time when I crashed. I crashed, but before I did 136 kilometers. 1 year after, in 2023, I did 139.
Right.
And this year, a little bit better.
Right. Okay. So, if I recall correctly, this week you have twice set personal bests.
Yes, for the moment.
Right. Do you remember what that was in miles an hour?
88 point something.
But that is your personal best so far.
Yes,
right?
yes, today, yes.
And is it another record as well?
86.9.
86.9.
Yes.
And both that and today, was that a European record?
Yes.
Yes. So Francois has not only managed his personal best, but also 2 European records back to back. So what is next for you? What is next for the team?
Still tonight.
Tonight,
Last run.
One more.
Last run, and after we don't know yet.
Okay. Well,
it's depending of a lot of things.
Right. Well, you guys are extremely professional and you have all the data. So good luck for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Gary. I am here at the Battle Mountain Civic Center with 2 members of the Dutch team. I will ask them to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their background and their bike.
And my name is David van Eert, 35 from the Netherlands, and this is Floris.
Yeah. Also, I'm 27. I'm from the Netherlands as well. I'm the mechanic of the team, and we came here with Orange Bullet to set some new records. So. David is on a 73-mile, not legal wind, unfortunately.
Yeah, aiming for 75 plus.
Okay.
At least. Yeah.
So, apart from going as fast as you can, obviously, did you have specific goals, specific speed that you wanted to reach when you came out here?
Yeah, in the beginning of the week we were aiming for 80 plus, or even maybe the Dutch record, which is at 83 miles an hour. But during this week we had a few setbacks with the bike, and I wasn't also not in the shape that I was in last year. So we had to adjust our goals a little bit.
Okay.
And also the weather hasn't been optimal with the winds.
The winds have been a little tricky.
Yeah. I think the air density also wasn't optimal in the first half of the week. So yeah.
Okay.
But
have you achieved any specific records for yourself maybe this week?
Well, I did a PR this morning at 73. 72, 73. Okay. And last year was 70.
Oh, that's
so it's already an improvement.
It is, yes.
From last year.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any hopes for this evening? Are you running again this evening?
Yeah.
The last race?
Yeah, we're definitely going all out on this last one. Changing some inner tubes to latex.
Okay.
Trying to gain some rolling resistance. yeah, and it's the last heat, so we'll just leave everything out on the table, see where we end up.
Great. And what are your goals for after Battle Mountain? You think you'll be back next year? Did you try more?
I think next year we'll probably be working on the bike, but we've heard rumors of maybe a new road coming here,
yes.
A smoother road, because the road's been like deteriorating over the last few years. So maybe in a few years with a new road and a more optimized bike and a rider that's slightly better in shape, then we'll return and go for that Dutch record.
Excellent. And David, you also told me a little bit about a different project that you're working on. Can you elaborate on that, or is it still a secret?
No, it's out in the open. Me and Flores, we went to the Bonneville Salt Flats last week to scout for another speed record project, which is the land speed cycling record behind the car, so like a motor-paced cycling record, which is now at 183 miles an hour.
Right.
So we're looking to raise that to 188 or 190, maybe next year or the year after. So that's just another project we're working on.
And who currently holds that record?
It's Denise Mueller. It's an American woman, and she took it from an older Dutch man who lives near our place.
Oh, okay.
So we're keen on getting that record back in Dutch hands.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about the bike that you'll be using for that attempt?
Yeah. Well, he can elaborate.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't exist yet, but it will be a bike with a very big gear. Probably be a single speed as well. When you do these kinds of records, it's we do it in a way you get pulled up to speed. So basically attached via a cable to the bike.
Right.
They'll pull you up to like 90 miles an hour. You pull the lever, and then it's all the V who's doing the work.
Slipstream. Yeah.
And we're still looking at the bike will be built around the tires we'll be using.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out whether to use like a MotoGP tire or maybe a tire that's used on like a drag surface, for example. And that'll be key in this project as well.
We'll need really strong tires to get
the speed.
To last.
What vehicle will you be using to pull you up to speed?
It will be a drag racer.
Racer.
Yeah, because we've seen a few good cars at the meet last week. That might be able to accommodate the fairing on the back. And we'll need to be a car that's stable at high speeds, that won't start wobbling or fishtailing. So it needs to be fast and stable.
Okay, well, thanks for that, and good luck with both attempts this evening. The last one here at Battle Mountain, and also the other record on the Salt Flats.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Cobus.
I'm here at the Civic Center in Battle Mountain with one of the riders. Oh, and there's the other rider we were going to talk to. Kommen Sie hier, bitte, Fräulein. So, I'm here with two of the German riders, the only two German riders, at Battle Mountain. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
I'm Niklas, 24 years old, and I'm the designer and builder of the Milan RS that Bill Thornton was riding at Battle Mountain this year.
Yeah, I'm Mika. I'm 27. Yeah.
So, which bikes did you, or you guys just had one bike, right? You shared a bike. Can you tell us more about that bike?
Yes, we shared the Milan RS that I built for Bill. So it's Bill's bike, and we all three rode the bike. It's easily adjustable, so we just had to move the seat a bit backwards, and then we can all ride the bike.
And it was adjustable so that Bill, yourself, and Wipke all could ride the bike?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What were your goals with coming out to Battle Mountain, and did you achieve them?
My goal was just to have fun and see what the bike can do. And then, I tried to get the 55 mile an hour head. I still don't know if I got it, because I did 6 runs, and the first 5 ones were all not wind legal, so too much wind. I hope the final one is wind legal.
Yes, the last time results will be read later tonight. So we still don't know about that second hat. And Wipke?
Yeah, when I came to Battle Mountain, I have no goal. Yeah, but now I have the 50 mile hat.
Yeah, you were trying very hard, right? Every run was just a little bit short, and then finally you made it.
Oh, that's it. And she's also now the fastest German rider overall.
German female rider.
Female rider, yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations. So, what are your plans now after this Battle Mountain?
My plan is to fly home, starting university, and then maybe bring a bike from the university next time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wipke? Yeah, no, just relax.
I don't know.
Enjoy the hat.
Yeah.
Enjoy the hat. All right, guys. Great interview. Nice to see you, and we all had a lot of fun here. Thank you.
Oops.
No oops. What are you thinking? Last run of the year. Whoops. Almost fell over. Last run. Printer's ready, timer's ready, computer's ready, wind's ready, sensor's ready.
Slash!
That is the last run done of the 2025 World Human Powered Speed Challenge here at Battle Mountain, Nevada. Look at that beautiful sunset back there. Isn't that cool? That's nice. The sunrises are just as awesome. And although we did not get a new world record, we had several people, including Francois Pervy, set new personal records, and for him that's both a French and European record. I believe Russell Bridge set a new personal record. Slash set a new personal record. Wipke set a new personal record and got a 50-mile-an-hour hat. And Niklas sent a new personal record and got a hat. So, a great week of racing here, and we hope to see everybody back in 2026. Hopefully with a new road surface, new bikes, and a lot of excitement. Thank you.
What an awesome report. So Cobus may be with us. Larry, go ahead and bring up, it might just be audio. Cobus, can you hear us?
Hi, Gary. Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So, Cobus, you're live with us on the air. So Cobus is just finished work. He is in the car riding, so I don't think we're going to get any video from him. But first of all, Cobus, a wonderful report, really interesting. And to let you know, we have a number of folks from Battle Mountain that are on the live chat with us. And so first of all, let me just kind of bring up their comments, and then we're going to chat a little bit. So, all right, there's our good pal Arnold Lichtvogt. And I had asked on the chat about where to sum up the results from Battle Mountain, because folks had just watched you talk all about and interview a number of folks at Battle Mountain, but I'm sure people want to know what happened at the very end. Arnold is pointing out June's blog, which is called Biking in a Big City, and so you can Google that, but Trey, I just added the QR code for that. Can you maybe pop, if you could find that, pop that up on the screen as we continue to talk? Thank you. There it is, guys. So if you want to try to scan that with your phone, it will take you to a very good blog that June puts together. And this is the wrap-up segment from June's blog, but he does day-to-day as well. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, the best place to keep up with what goes on at Battle Mountain and results. So another guy who is with us, who knows a lot about racing at Battle Mountain, is our pal Mike Mowat. And he comments here that Francois Pervy, who you saw Cobus interview, is the second fastest human ever with his 88.1 mile an hour at Battle Mountain this year. and he has set the fastest European record 5 times there. He is a racer, as you heard him say, from Europe, a French national champion and such. So he's a great guy also. So thank you, Mike, for sharing that with us. Let me see. Well, while I'm looking for more comments here, Cobus, so folks have seen what you sent to us there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you did? We really didn't talk about that in the video.
Sure, Gary. It wasn't at all as impressive as Francois or Niklas's or Wipke's, but I took my Milan GT Mark 7 out there, and the only benchmark I had was the speeds I usually do if I'm cycling on trails or on the road. So I jokingly said I'm aiming for the 25-mile-an-hour hat, which I did kind of get unofficially. Marika made me a nice bedazzled hat with 25 on it. But my first run with my stock standard Milan, I did 37.73 miles an hour, which was an eye-opener. And then I spent the next few days modifying it, putting faster tires on, lightweight tubes, taping up every little hole and crease. And Niklas made a really nice fairing to go on the rear wheel. I had that on. I took the light off, and I ended up, my fastest time was 43.84 miles an hour, which was just shy of the 25 miles an hour needed to qualify, unfortunately. But I did learn a lot. It was a great experience, and it was a lot of fun.
And it sounds to me like you're heading back next year, if possible.
That's the plan. I think Arnold might be able to comment on the...
there are some issues at Battle Mountain that they do have to overcome, and maybe this isn't the time or place to really talk about that. So, but we will eventually, and we sure hope that it can all be worked out and Battle Mountain continues, because it is an amazing, amazing event that brings out the best in people and in bikes from all around the world. I'm a big fan. I know obviously you are as well, and all the folks that have joined us here on live chatting. We got popped up. Here's Alan, and he and Alice used to be in charge, and this is the first year that they stepped back. And Arnold, who we just talked about, and Marika, who kind of took over from them, along with everyone else that helped out this year to keep things going. We hope they'll be able to find a way forward to keep Battle Mountain and the World Human Powered Speed Challenge continuing. So with that, I think, Cobus, anything else you want to say before we finish it up?
Just to reiterate what you just said, the team who organized the 2025 Battle Mountain, Arnold, Marika, June, everybody else, Adam Hardy, who came over early from Australia, everybody did a fantastic job. And like you said, we really hope it can continue next year and in the future. And myself and some other folks are trying really hard to get some American universities involved as well. It would be great to see some local talent from schools and riders participating. But yep, that's it.
All right, Cobus, thanks for going the extra mile to join us here today while you're driving. I know it's not been easy, so we'll talk again soon. Cobus, thanks again for the reports. It's really kind of you to share all that with us. So we'll see you again. Thanks,
right.
Cobus.
Thanks, Gary. Keep well.
All right. Thanks, pal. All right, folks, let's move on to our next segment. As we mentioned earlier, this is Ben Parke, and he's going to tell you about his experience running a dealership for Velomobiles in the U.S., the trials and tribulations. He's going to get into all of that right now. So, Larry, let's talk to Ben. Well, I am here with my pal, Ben Parke. Ben, so nice to see you again, and welcome back to the Laid Back Bike Report.
Thanks.
So there's been a lot of changes in your life, a number of changes in your business model, and we want to talk about all of that. But for the 2 or 3 folks out there who don't know who you are, why don't you give us a real short introduction of who you are and a little bit about your background?
Yep. I'm Ben. I'm the owner of Northland Velo, which for a long time, well, not for a very long time, actually, was the primary Velomobile dealership in the U.S. And this summer, I decided it was time to move to the Netherlands. So I brought Northland Velo with me. It's now a Dutch-based business, which also is still doing business in the U.S., but now through my Dutch company. As far as background, I've been riding recumbents for, 10, 15 years. And I got into Velomobile riding because I got tired of being cold in the winter and wanted to keep cycling in Minnesota, and Velomobile made the most sense.
Yeah, perfect solution for Minnesota, obviously. All right, so let's take a closer look at Northland Velo, if we could. Then tell us a little bit about what it was that enticed you to become a Velomobile dealer, and how did you start Northland Velo?
Yeah, I got enticed because I was working a lot at that point in time with Velomobile World, part of the ambassador program, and there wasn't a Velomobile dealership in the U.S. at that point in time, and folks were having a tough time with the import process and the payment process, and I thought, well, I already had to work those things out when I purchased a Velomobile through them, so I might as well open a dealership and kind of act as a brokerage for that.
Good. All right, so how about we take a look at what it's like to be a Velomobile dealer in North America? You are a prime example and of a very few who have tried this. So tell us about what it's like day to day, Ben. What was it like being a Velomobile dealer?
It was a lot of work. It was a lot more than I anticipated going in. I was going to do it on the side. My primary job is I teach music lessons. I'm a professional trumpet player. And I thought, well, this will be just kind of a hobby business. And it ended up turning out to be basically my full-time job, except that I wasn't really earning any more doing it than I was teaching lessons. And it kind of took over my life to the point where the work-life balance just wasn't working anymore.
Okay, so let's get into maybe the highlights and lowlights then. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the challenges, if we could. This is not easy. Everybody knows it wasn't easy for you. Tell us, what were the major challenges that you faced?
Communication is a big challenge. You're dealing with a time difference between yourself and all of the European companies that build Velomobiles. So when they're at work, it's the middle of the night for me, and I'd often wake up and have a pile of messages to answer in the morning. So there's usually a delay of 1 to 2 days before you can get in touch with anybody because you're just not awake at the same time. There's, of course, challenges of getting parts because you've got to get it shipped from Europe to the US, and that's a pretty expensive process. So we were doing container shipments for Velomobiles to try to get the shipping price down. And I would end up with 50-some orders of parts that would come in the container so that we didn't have to pay shipping on it. And then you get hit all at once with a load of anywhere from 10 to 24 Velomobiles, plus you've got 50, 60 some parts that need to get shipped out. And of course, everybody's eager to get their stuff because they've been waiting for a while. And so you feel the pressure to ship it out as quickly as possible. And it gets pretty overwhelming pretty quickly.
Okay, so let's go a little bit further into this support aspect of this. So you're getting these parts because people need to replace things or upgrades and all these sort of things. But the support aspect in general, you were selling to people all over the country and maybe even further than that. And you are just one guy in one spot in North America in the center. How do you support these? Velomobiles are somewhat notorious for having some mechanical issues, and some people are very well equipped to handle that themselves. Others, not so much. So tell me a little bit about what it was like to support.
Yeah, the support part is definitely the toughest part. My intention was eventually to work with some recumbent bike shops to be maintenance centers, and there were some shops that were certainly willing to do that. But even so, if a Velomobile breaks down, it's tough to get it someplace. Even if you've got somebody in your state, there's such huge differences in the US that in the end, you really have to kind of be able to do some maintenance yourself, or at least have a bike shop nearby that's willing to dig into the deep, dark bowels of a Velomobile. And that's not always practical for everybody. So a lot of times you're trying to help people troubleshoot over the phone, and you think it's one thing, but it's probably not. They're sending you photos, they're sending you video, and you're trying to interpret from that what actually is going on. And it's definitely a challenging thing to do. Then you encounter a problem that, maybe you've never seen before, and you're trying to talk to your colleagues, you're trying to talk to the producers of the bike to try to figure out, what in the world is going on. And meanwhile, your poor client is obviously frustrated because they just want to ride their bike.
Right. I got to say, Ben, nobody that I've ever seen was more online and supportive of their clientele than you. You were everywhere online and always looking, sometimes looking for trouble, I'd have to say. People maybe not even addressing it to you, but you would come on and try to help them, which you should be commended for. So that kind of brings me to the joys aspect, but you really haven't talked about that. So, there were certainly lots of challenges you've talked about and everything, but there's a certain joy to it, obviously, or you wouldn't even have gotten into it in the first place. What were the highlights? Why did you do this? What joy did it bring you?
It is nice to see people discover Velomobiles and enjoy riding them. And I do get some positive feedback from clients sometimes that, oh yeah, we just got back from this really nice tour with our Velomobiles. It was so nice. It was so comfortable. It was so convenient. We were able to go so much faster than we went with our regular bikes, that kind of thing. And that is nice to see. And that's the main joy.
Okay. All right. Now, let's go into the business aspects of this a little bit. So obviously there were things under your control, and there were going to be things that were totally out of your control, and you had to handle it all. Talk to us a little bit about those things.
Yeah, there's things that, I can control to some extent, how the import process goes. I have some say in the timing of the shipments, where they're going to be delivered and offloaded. But there's also a lot of things that aren't out of your control, and you can think you have everything planned for a shipment perfectly. And then like the last shipment that I did, it got delayed and delayed and delayed. And we were right up against the point when the first round of tariffs was going to hit. And you're looking at the shipment going, oh man, I've got 10 clients' bikes sitting in that ship. If that thing gets delayed another 2 weeks, we're going to get hit with 10% tariffs. And nobody wants to have waited several months for their bike and then find out it's going to cost more. And I certainly don't make enough to absorb a 10% tariff, and neither does the factory, because the profit margins are just so low. So somebody's got to come up with the money, and then you go, oh no, what do you do?
Right. So this is going to bring me to my next question, which is we're going to talk about the financial viability of all this. So I think some people are under the impression that owning a bike shop or a Velomobile dealership is a great way to get rich. Is that the case?
No. It's a great way to go poor. The profit margins on Velomobiles really are just not that high. In fact, some of my colleagues also sell recumbent trikes along with Velomobiles, and they make basically the same amount per trike that they make for a Velomobile. And the price of a recumbent trike is a lot lower than a Velomobile. Even the factories that are producing these, the companies that design and produce them, are really not making a very large profit margin because there's just so much handwork that goes into building a Velomobile. Even just to produce the shell alone takes hours and hours of laying up the carbon fiber. You've got to cut it to the right sizes. You've got to lay it up in the right orientation. You've got to get the right amount of epoxy resin on it. Then you've got to trim everything. You've got to fill everything with filler. You've got to get a good smooth paint job on it. You've got to sand between coats. And then you've got to put the whole thing together. All the interior stuff. With a trike, you set some pieces of metal in a form, you weld it, you slap the drivetrain on, and you're done. You can't do that with a Velomobile. And so that just drives the price way up. And honestly, the price that they're at right now is really below what it should be for everybody to make a reasonable profit margin.
So this is all about scale, really, isn't it? I mean, there's just no real way at this point for manufacturing of Velomobiles to scale. And, you know, as a dealer, it's not like you're going to have, 20 dealers around the country or dealerships around the country so that you can kind of scale the retail aspect of this. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I guess I would ask, if you were to do it again, maybe, or had advice for someone who wanted to try this, what would you say could be done to improve the financial viability of such a business?
I don't think it's possible to just have a Velomobile dealership. If you're doing it as something on the side and you have a recumbent shop or a regular bike shop, then it's something that you can have as an additional offer. But to do it as the primary thing, it's just not profitable enough. And everyone wants to dream that Velomobiles are suddenly going to become a big thing. And the reality is it's just not going to happen. I was hopeful for that I could have a big enough influence on the market to grow it to the point where it could start to become scalable, but it's just not going to happen. If they're too different, and there's not enough people that are keen to ride something so unique. And while it certainly has a practical aspect, after going back this summer to riding my recumbent trike, I've come to the conclusion that Velomobiles have very good uses, and they have also very bad uses. Like if I'm running to the grocery store here, by the time I drag the Velomobile out of the garage, I could be halfway to the store with my recumbent bike. Then you got to worry about parking it there and hoping that somebody doesn't come out and mess with it while you're in the store and stuff. So if I'm going on a long ride, say I'm riding over to Terneuzen, or I want to go down to Ghent or something, then a Velomobile makes sense because I can get there a lot faster. But for short trips, not unless it's really cold and rainy. So that kind of limits the market a little bit because people want something that's really easy and convenient. And a Velomobile doesn't always fit that. It's kind of halfway between a bike and a car.
Interesting parallel, Ben, that I see between the Velomobiles and recumbents in general, bikes and trikes, because I've lived through the years where we all thought that recumbent bikes were going to just take over because so comfortable, they could be so fast, and all this. But you become more realistic over the years and pragmatic about the market, because it just did not appear. And I agree with what you said about Velomobiles, and I think it is similar to the recumbent scene too. There's a market, but it is a limited one, and I think we need to be realistic about that. So, and also in the Netherlands, as I mentioned to you earlier, I've spent a little time there as well. The ease of hopping on any bike, no helmets, no gear, no Lycra, right? I mean, people just, it's their mode of transportation. Maybe now that you're there, could you just speak for a minute about what that's like?
Yeah, it's not as heavy a mode of transportation here as it is when you get up into the Randstad area, Rotterdam, Utrecht, Den Haag, Amsterdam, Haarlem. That area, there's a much higher percentage of people moving by bike. Out here, because it's more rural and by Netherlands standards, it's farther between towns, like 5 kilometers. There's not as many people cycling, but it's still a much bigger part of the culture than it is in the US. For instance, kids bike to school. So if I go out in the mid-afternoon to run some errands, there's a stream of kids coming the other way on the path from Oostbrug, coming back from school. They've got their backpacks stuck in a basket on the back of their their bicycle, because that's just how they get around. And there's always somebody at the last time I was at the grocery store, I think there were 5 bikes parked outside of Aldi. There's always a couple bikes at the hardware store that are parked there in the bike rack that cycled there to go shopping, because it's a good way to get around. And when you get into the center of the city, it's not at all practical here to move with a car, because the streets are so narrow. There's cars parked along the sides of the streets. Oftentimes you can only fit one car down the road at a time. So it's faster to cycle through the city than it is or town than it is to take the car.
Right. Okay, and just to finish up with the biking in the Netherlands, you've been there now for a few months, and you've seen all these people biking everywhere. How many? And of course, the Netherlands are known as the birthplace and home of Velomobiles, of course, up in Dronten, of course. How many Velomobiles, and for that matter, how many Recumbents have you seen on the bike paths or roads?
I think I saw one trike.
Yeah.
The only Velomobiles I've seen have been people that I intentionally met with. I know there are some people that will cycle through this area. In fact, I had coffee yesterday or on Tuesday, I forget which day, with a guy that came up here from Belgium to go cycling for the day in his Velomobile. But I haven't actually seen any while I was out riding. And aside from that one trike, I don't know if I've seen any other recumbents besides me. But again, I'm in a very rural area by Netherlands standards. If you get up into the bigger cities, you're more likely to see recumbents and Velomobiles.
Okay. All right. Well, let's put an end to all this with what you are doing right now, Ben. It's really kind of interesting. You have not given up on Northland Velomobile, and I want folks to kind of understand where you are going with that. Tell us about what remains of the North American aspect of it, and what you're doing there in Europe, and how folks can kind of purchase from you now. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I ended my relationship with Velomobile World earlier this spring. We came to some business differences that we couldn't work out, and so between that and just the workload of it and the fact that I was moving, I decided that it was time to part ways. And since then, I've been thinking about how I want to re-enter the Velomobile scene and what would be the right situation for me so that I don't take on more than I can handle again. And I ended up purchasing the business of Velomobile SH. It was run by Axel Herfurt in northern Germany. And I bought all of his equipment and his designs. And now I am running a web shop, both in the US and then a separate one here in Europe, that's selling accessories and some custom machine parts for Velomobiles. And I'm hoping eventually that I'll expand that more to offering things for recumbents in general as well. Things like Garmin Varia mounts, some replacement parts for Alpha Velomobiles. I've got headrests and elbow rests and that kind of thing. And then in addition to that, a couple of weeks ago, I signed on with Katanga as a dealer for the WOW Velomobile, which is a bit of an older design, but it's one that I think has a very unique place in the market that I think would be a good fit for the American market. The nose and the tail are both removable, so it's a lot easier to get into do maintenance. It has a much more traditional bicycle drivetrain, especially in the rear, because you can take the tail off. You can have a standard bicycle hub in the back. And I think that will make it a more practical offering for the US market. And certainly for me, since I'm so busy right now, having easy maintenance access makes it a lot quicker for me to get in and do the chores that I need to do and that I typically put off because I don't want to dive into the deep, dark recesses of the back of a Velomobile. Some other things about the WOW that are really unique is because it has a traditional dropout in the back and can take a normal bicycle wheel, you can actually have a roll-off hub in the back. You can put a schlump or a pinion up in the front so you can have a fully internally geared hub system in it. And you can also have either a mid-drive e-assist or a hub drive e-assist installed. And right now, it's the only Velomobile that you can get from the factory with those options. And those are some options that I get asked about a lot in the US market because a lot of people are coming over from recumbent trikes. They're used to having a hub drive. They're used to having internally geared hubs. And they want to keep those convenient components in a Velomobile, and that's understandable. It also has a nice removable hood that can actually be stored behind you, which is very appealing for me because it's quite common that I go out for a ride and halfway through the sunny skies go away and it's bucketing down rain. And I don't really want to get soaked when I'm out riding. So it's nice to be able to just pull the hood out, stick it on top, get my wiper blade out, and just keep on riding. So there's some things that I think, despite it being a 10-year-old design, are very much worth considering. The other thing about the WOW is that it's been assembled for the last 10 years by the same guy in the same factory. It's just one guy that does the assembly. So he's pretty good at it at this point. And since I'm here in the Netherlands and it's not really possible anymore for me to look over a bike and set it up for somebody when I send it to the US, it's nice to know that it's going to come from the factory in ready-to-ride condition because it's just one guy doing the assembly and that's what he knows how to do and he does it really well.
Ben, well, you won't find anybody better to work with than Stefan at Katanga, and he's just a fine owner of the business, quality guy. I guess I would want to know more about the process now. So if I want to buy a WOW from Northland Velo, how does that all work now? If I'm here in Ohio, what do I do?
Yeah, you would contact me. We could set up a video consult or a phone consult. I still have my old business number. I need to get that ported over to Google Voice because right now it costs me money when somebody calls me because I'm still on a US cell plan, which, by the way, is kind of expensive compared to what I pay here for my Dutch phone number. It's like 7 times more expensive. But yeah, you can contact me through my website, through email. We set up a consult. We talk through the different options for the WOW and figure out, is this a Velomobile that's going to work for you? What options do you need? And then from there, the process is very much like it was before. We would get the bike built, and then we would air freight it to the US, to whatever international airport is closer to you. You go pick it up and unbox it, and you're ready to go.
Very good. And this is all, to be clear, this is all under the auspices of Northland Velo still. Is that still the business?
Yes, it's theoretically the business is still licensed in the United States, but everything that happens will go through the Dutch business. It's required as part of my visa. And also it's just simpler for me from a tax basis. But you'll still get billed in US dollars, and I'll just take care of the transferring it to euros part of it. At least that's the plan right now. And yeah, the order process is going to look very much like it's always looked.
And the website is still Northland Velo, yes?
Yes, yep. The US website is still very much active. I've been in the process of updating it. I'm working on the pages yet for more details about the WOW. The web store at northlandvelo.com is still active. In fact, the stuff that's listed in that store actually still ships out of the US. I left a bunch of stock with a friend of mine who will box it up and ship it out for me. And from time to time, as I'm able, I'm going to try to get some renewal of the stock that I have in the US. Just right now, with the newest tariffs, that's complicated the shipping process, and I'm still learning about what I'm going to have to do now as far as paperwork because of the new tariff laws and the 15% tariffs. And there's no longer the $600 or $800 exception or something for tariffs. That, for whatever reason, was removed. So everything that ships over is going to have to go through a more extensive customs process. There's more paperwork involved. And then somebody somewhere along the way has got to pay the 15% tariff.
And finally, there is more than just the WOW that you will be selling. You're working on some accessories, I believe, a line of accessories for Velomobiles. Ben, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mentioned that briefly earlier about the business of Velomobile SH. And I have now three 3D printers. I have a CO2 laser. I have a milling machine. I've got a lathe. And that allows me to custom machine quite a lot of materials. I've got armrests, headrests, neck rests. I have different accessories like a magnet to hold the tiller up on the bilk, and I'm working on altering that so that it also works in the Milan and perhaps in some other models. I've got Garmin Varia holders. Yeah, I think my catalog is like 200 items or something. It took a very long time to set up the European website. I don't have all of that in the US right now because I moved before I took over the business of Axle, so there wasn't a way to transfer it yet. And of course, I mentioned the shipping situation.
Right. And the material that you use, we talked a little bit about this before we went on the air. Tell us a little bit about the 3D printer and the material that you use for these accessories.
Yeah, there's a huge range of different types of filaments for 3D printers. Most people are familiar with PLA, which is kind of a hobbyist filament for use interior. It's UV sensitive, so if it spends a lot of time outside, it basically degrades. In fact, it's biodegradable. It's intended to degrade. So I don't use that filament. What I use a lot is PETG, especially reinforced with carbon fiber. PETG is what plastic bottles is made out of. So it's quite a durable filament, and it is not UV sensitive. So it lasts quite a long time. It's pretty durable. I also print some with polycarbonate, which is the same material that we make the visors in Velomobiles out of, at least the ones on the older models like the Quest and the Milans. I print, right now I'm printing some headrests with TPE, which is a flexible filament. It has some stretch to it. It has a lot of give to it. And by varying the amount of infill inside the item itself, you can change how hard or soft it is. So I can make a very soft headrest. I can make a very firm headrest. I have a set of elbow rests that I made out of that material. I'm experimenting with ASA, which is also quite a technical filament. There's a wiper blade that Axel developed that right now I'm printing with polycarbonate, but I'd like to see if maybe ASA will work better for that. However, it's a very toxic filament to print. It gives off bad fumes, so I have to print that out in the shed in the back. So one of the 3D printers is out back, and the other two are here in the house.
All right, Ben. Well, that's all so interesting. It's exciting to see the direction that you're going here, and I wish you a lot of luck on it. Any final thoughts?
No, just don't expect that you're going to get rich selling Velomobiles.
I think that's a good summary, maybe, of the whole thing. So,
yeah.
Right. Ben, thank you so much for taking time out of what I know is a very busy day for you over there in the Netherlands to share your story here with the Laid Back Bike Report. We wish you all the best. You hang in there, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay.
All right. And I'm sorry Ben can't be with us live today. He actually is doing some trumpet lessons online right now. So that was kind of a conflict we couldn't overcome. But lots of interesting comments. I tried to put as many up as possible during the video. And if you continue to comment now and after this ends, if you watch the video after we're live, I'm sure Ben is going to see those and he will respond to those if you have questions. So feel free to do that. And lastly, I made up here we go. There's a QR code for Northland Velo. I'll actually put the link in the description below as well. But if you guys want to take a quick snap of that, you can also use the QR code to get to Northland Velo and take a look at Ben's website. And yeah, I think that's all the questions that we had on that one. So thanks to Northland Velo and Ben Parke for sharing those very heartfelt thoughts about what's going on with Velomobile sales in the USA. And with that, let me remind you that if you have pictures of your accomplishments or events and things you want to share about your recumbent bikes, trikes, or Velomobiles, send them to us at laidbackbikereport@gmail.com, and we'll get them in the viewer submissions segment and share those with our viewers as well. Now, let me tell you one last time about the amazing sponsors of the Laid Back Bike Report, Larry.
TerraCycle, riding comfort, style, and laid-back bliss. At TerraCycle, we've been laid back since 1996. See more at t-cycle.com. And Trailside Trikes. If you find yourself in Florida near the Withlacoochee Trail, check out Andrew's shop and his amazing crew. And TerraTrike Greenspeed, the best in leisure, performance, adventure touring, electric, and portability. Wherever your adventure leads, TerraTrike will take you there. And Greenspeed, where Ian Sims Designs bring performance through science and engineering. Laid Back Cycles, your go-to store for Catrike, Ice, TerraTrike, and now AZUB recumbent trikes. They ship nationwide and offer financing to get you rolling. Plus, check out Laidback Mickey on YouTube for all the latest tips and reviews on recumbent trikes. And Bicycle Man, where you can find new and used recumbent trikes and bikes. We're located in Alfred Station, New York, have over 100 bents in stock and ready to try. So why wait? Come ride, then decide. And AZUB. Check out the new Bosch Performance CX motor system. AZUB is the only mainstream recumbent brand to offer this top-of-the-line e-assist. Head to your local dealer and try it out. And Connecticut Yankee Peddler. We feature multiple brands of trikes, including electric assist models. Test rides and Southern Iowa hospitality are always available at our megastore in Cheriton. And Stein Trikes, fully suspended, and with 4 inches of travel over each wheel, our colorful trikes will have you gliding over rocks and curbs with ease. Wild one, I think I love you. Check out stein-trikes-us.com to learn more. And Rad Innovations. We have recumbent trikes, hand cycles, and tandems from Honza, AZUB, Ice, Catrike, Rad, and more for all ages and abilities.
All right, guys, the next Laid Back Bike Report will be November 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, as always, and we will let you know as time goes on what we're going to have lined up for you on that date. Now, if you want to support the Laid Back Bike Report, gosh, we'd appreciate that. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we got a QR code for you to take a snap of. Trey can pop that up there. It will take you to the Laid Back Bike Report website where you can find out lots more about what we do, our past shows, what's coming up. You can buy a hat. You can become a Patreon member like all these folks have. And you can do that for as little as $1 a month. So those are great ways to support us. We appreciate any way that you do it, including just watching us. So, all right, can you pop the crew back on here for us? There we go, Larry. Thanks so much for the great directing job. Very smooth today, Larry. I don't know. It's a steady hand. I think it's probably because of that. Racing that you just did. So, Larry, before we go, so tell us just take a sentence or two. Tell us where you were and show us what you got.
Just a quick update from St. George. Or criterium with a 24-mile gravel race, which took quite a few hours because there was a little bit of sand to get out. I had to push and get out and push the trike through. So we had 2 trikes for most of the races. Me and Al Luce and Steve Narrow joined in on his long wheelbase 2-wheel bike in the time trial and the hill climb. And they also started something new. They included the recumbents in what they call the overall. It's like an omnium where they add up points for placing in all the various road races in all the different categories, and you accumulate points, and they add up all the points at the last of the race, and they award these overall awards. And up until this year, they never bothered with the recumbents in the overall, and now they do that. Started this year, which is a very nice touch.
Very nice. And Trey, thank you, pal, for picking up a couple of new duties today. You did great, and
it was exhausting.
Yeah, I can tell. Are you laid back on your trike right now, or
laid back? That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks again for helping me out today. As always, really appreciate what you do, and thanks to all of you folks for watching today and every month at the Laid Back Bike Report. So much appreciated for all your support. So we appreciate that. So until our next webcast, from all of us here at the Laid Back Bike Report. So long, Bent Riders.